Hello, I'm Kaylee and I'm a stained glass artist. In this video, I'm making some colorful bird sun catchers. Now these aren't any specific type of bird. I designed this pattern to use up a bunch of my scrap glass pieces. Also in this video, I don't show the entire stained glass making process. I just do the soldering and polishing. Let's get started. Alright, so jumping straight into the soldering. As you can see here, I'm using a little paintbrush to apply what's called flux to the pieces, and flux is what helps the solder stick. And when I solder, I typically start with the outside edges of the glass pieces first. I don't know why, that's just kind of how I learned to do it. And so I do the outside edges and then I move into the thicker lines. In case you don't know what these moths are, so those pink and yellow moths, those are called rosy maple moths. And then that green moth is probably a little more familiar. That's a Luna moth. Now, as you can see, I'm doing the exact same thing for the Luna moth, starting on the outside edges and then working my way into the middle. So the way I make these moth sun catchers is I give them wire antennas that are made out of copper wire. So what you see here is me making the antennas. And I know the framing's kind of bad and my hands are in the way, but basically what I'm doing is using a pair of round tip pliers, and I'm just kind of squiggling the wire back and forth to make the antenna shape that I like. So once I have the antennas made for all of the moths, then I put some flux on them and solder them onto the moths. And once again, I know it's a bad angle, but what I'm doing here is using needle nose pliers to hold the wire because it can get pretty hot from the soldering iron. And then just dapping a little bit of solder onto the wire and the moth to connect them. So once all of the moths have their antennas, then I can go around the outside edges. This can be a little tricky. The way I do this is I turn the soldering iron down so the solder isn't as loose and flowing, and then I just slowly tap the solder on all the way around until I have a nice bead. once I'm done soldering, I will clean these up and I will put copper patina on these to make all of the solder copper colored. And then after that, I will polish them and then they are ready to go. Now I forgot to get some finished product videos for these, but here you go. This is what the finished Luna moth looks like, and then this is what the finished rosy maple moth looks like. Thanks for watching. Bye!